What is going on, brothers and sisters? Eric Rosen here, your internal strength coach, here to show you how to overcome your greatest challenges so you can shine your brightest light. It is a gloomy looking November 19th, 2018. Happy Monday. Let's talk a little bit about co creating with the universe. So, co creation, meaning that I've talked about manifesting, right? I've talked about how you're able to identify what it is that you want to manifest it, intend it, and believe that it's going to happen. And I've talked about how the part that you don't need to worry about in the manifestation process is the how part. How is it going to happen? And that is where the universe comes in. The universe is the one that takes care of the how. It's the one that will show up and present you with certain tasks and opportunities um, that you need to be aware when they show up that it is part of what you've essentially asked for to manifest. Um, I realize that really for maybe not entirely, maybe it's an overstatement, but probably the past 3 months, I went maybe a little bit unconscious in terms of um, the manifestation process on a day in, day out basis consistently. Um, I had an instance where I was trying to get like 10 things done in a day and I got up at like 5:30 to do it and I still didn't get it all done and it didn't feel good doing it. I was like very much like a few tasks ahead of myself, so I was never really comfortably in the moment, which is always where you want to be because that's all you really have is that present moment. And it kind of hit me last night as I was talking to my girlfriend that really there's this, this logical belief structure, this linear thinking process that, maybe we have to get these 10 things done a day if we want great things to happen for ourselves. Um, if we want big things to happen, when really what I came to realize between last night and also a float appointment that I did, if you don't know what that is, check out floating. Um, that really what's actually more in alignment for me, and I keep learning this lesson over and over again, is probably doing more like 5 critical things done a day and then leaving space in the day for whatever else comes up, whether that's space for meditation, reflection, just general awareness, things that don't go according to plan, um, spending time with loved ones, whatever it is, just basically giving, plenty of space in the day where not just trying to cram, work tasks that I feel that I have to do to manifest. Because really what that's signifying is not trusting in the manifestation process fully, right? Because if I wanted to take, fully the route that I've outlined here, which is co-creating with the universe, it would be to select those 5 critical things and do the tasks that I've identified, but then also leaving space in the day for those opportunities to show up and trusting that they will happen as long as I'm consistent with the manifestation process, as long as I'm consistent with the work. Clinging to trying to get 10 things done a day is totally going against the process because it's basically just saying the only way I can see this working is that if I get all this shit done. That's how it's going to work. I know this sounds crazy, but if you can learn you know, to truly manifest this trusting of the process with the universe, somehow it just works out. That's like the magical side of it. Okay, this is where it goes from just the straight lane, linear thinking process of I have to get this task done to get this done to get this done to get this done. Yes, there is some truth in that, but you know, burning yourself out at both ends of the candle, sunrise to sunset and beyond, isn't going to allow things to really come in and manifest in a way that is probably greater than you could have even imagined because you're not allowing that space for the universe to come in and co-create with you. Okay. So, you know, a teacher of mine mentioned this earlier when we were talking about this, that sometimes we need to actually, I think we all have to experience this. We have to experience like the contrast sometimes several times to keep learning that lesson over and over again of going way over here with being too aggressive with the day, trying to get the 10 things done, and then getting burnt out and then trying to do too little because you're like, well, I don't feel poised. I don't feel centered. You know, I feel burned out. I'm not feeling motivated about my work. And then you don't do anything. And then you're too passive. And then you're probably not even, at least in my instance of, you know, what I've experienced, not even really getting restoration from being too passive because there's still like that subconscious pressure in my mind of like wanting to get things accomplished on some level. So it's this constant back and forth of, oh, I didn't get enough done today. Let's get enough done tomorrow. So, you know, it goes back to balance and the part where, you know, where for someone who's trying to manifest that you can trust that balance isn't just the balance to, you know, make you feel good. It's also the balance so that you can actually take advantage of like the magical side of the manifestation process. Because I've listened to some, you know, entrepreneurs, you know, usually, you know, guys that will talk about hustling and getting a bunch of shit done and, you know, quit being a pussy and just get the work done in that. And I get the message. I think that a lot of it is probably geared for people out there that just cannot seem to think outside the box. You know, unfortunately, they're still expanding and they can only think on like a linear thought process. So they just have to be given like one direction and say, okay, you want to make stuff work, here you go. Just put in 10,000 hours. Because unfortunately, like there's a lot of people that can't comprehend, I think, this manifestation process, right? You try to teach somebody that, you know, just somebody who has never really done anything in terms of working on their self-awareness or done anything self-development wise. They're just somebody who's just typically, you know, just living their life out in society. And then imagine trying to come to them being like, hey, there's this magical process called manifesting where you can have your life look even greater and you don't have to work quite as hard. It doesn't have to eat you up, right? You know, like that's a very Saturn and Capricorn thing, you know, with the astrology where, you know, everything is about kind of structure, discipline, making decisions, hard work. Well, not hard work, but work, you know, like it's not a good time to be fucking off and partying like your life away right now or not pursuing your goals. It's a really great time to pursue your goals and make things happen. But, you know, even in that, there's still a magic to the process. It's not just banging your head up against the wall over and over and over again until you get it right, which I guess some people, that's what they want to hear. They just want the one thing to be told, okay, you want to get it done. Of course you're going to get there. You know, like, I mean, you spend enough time on anything, you know, you're going to accomplish something. But, you know, do you want to be feeling like you're getting ate up along the way? Ate up is in, yeah, you accomplished something, you get to the summit, but then you get there and you're like, man, like my health isn't good, my relationships are suffering. I thought I was going to feel a lot better when I accomplished this. So it really goes back to not what you do, it's how you do it. And that's the beauty of the manifestation process is that you can have both. You can have what it is that's in alignment with your heart and manifest that, but then you can also have, you know, more grace and poise to get there. And it's not always going to be rosy. Okay, we know that. We know there's going to be times where, you lose the awareness and you forget how the process works, or you're judging yourself, or you're being impatient, or you're viewing setbacks as setbacks as opposed to opportunities for growth. So, um, bottom line, this video, guys, is it's co-creation. It's knowing that it's not just you just trying to get a bunch of tasks done every day, and then eventually it's the cumulative effect. It's going to amount into something. You can do it that way, but it doesn't have to be that hard. My days go best when I don't go too crazy with what I'm trying to get done. I feel the best when I consistently getting things done every day, creating momentum, and then also allowing that space in the day by not trying to do too much allows me to remain calm and to tap into my intuition, into my inner guidance system, to not only flow but get more clear on what it is that I'm being guided to do. Because the thing is that when we talk about the universe kind of filling in the blanks on the how and giving you opportunities and certain messages on things to do, how can you ever receive that stuff if you're just, you know, blitzing, one task to the next, and you're not given any space for you know, any space, for any awareness in your day of like time and to reflect, to process things, I mean, even if, it's like I could do 10 things a day and then I could still have, some time built in there to get some things, to reflect on some things, to meditate. But a lot of times what I find is that I'm actually spending that time unwinding how myself, because I was getting so wound up moving from one task to the next. So, you know, it's more as opposed to like blitzing something, just as in like just like trying to rush, a task. It's like coming to it, with more of like it's almost like a dance in a way, like it's kind of like an inner knowing of knowing that the work will get done, that you've identified, the task that is in alignment with how you need to get to your goal, and just knowing that there's more of a delicate approach that you can take to it that can result in you not only feeling better when you complete the task, but also potentially, depending on what the task is, more creativity in it. Okay. Creativity is in, I mean, let's face it, like some tasks are just boring and there's like no room for creativity in it. But if you're in that space when you do get to certain tasks that allow you to be creative, then great. Like, for example, you know, I can sit there and, you know, I can be coaching somebody, they can be telling me what's going on in their life. You know, there's a certain structure to that, but then like the creativity side, comes in when I'm able to tap into my intuition and hear what they're saying and kind of, see what they're saying with their words, like the subtle communications and things like that, to know like where to guide them. Whereas somebody who lacked creativity in the process would just be like, oh, okay, so you have, I don't know, you have IBS. Okay, so then they go and then they research everything they know about, IBS, what all the land science is saying. So like it becomes this very structured task process. So anyways, getting a little off tangent, but co-creating with the universe, guys, I do not recommend trying to get too crazy. And like you'll know it, right? Because your breathing will start to be off. You'll just feel too pressured. I mean, stay consistent, get things done. There's going to be busy days, but allow it to, it can be this beautiful process. And I mean, I think that's ultimately what I've been searching for these past few years is, more of the beauty in the process of manifesting. So as that, as I continue to realize that, and then it continues to evolve for me, you guys know that I'll share that process with you. But suffice to say, for now, I do know how it works, and I have seen it work. It's just applying it on a more consistent basis, so you guys can do it too. Anyhow, ericrosencoaches.com, YouTube, and Facebook. You can find me there. All right. You guys take care.